Charlottetown Belvedere.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are 16,000 households in PEI that are rentals. More than 40% of those rental units are owned by real estate investment trusts, also known as REITs. Cap REIT and Killam Properties are ones that we probably are most familiar with, who own thousands of units between them. But there are many REITs of different sizes. What many of these investment trusts have in common is that they and their investors are not located in PEI. Question for the Minister of Finance. Does the province track the number and ownership of the thousands of rental properties that are in investment trusts, as we do with non-resident land transactions?
Minister of Finance, Deputy Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Member, I cannot answer that question here in the House, but I will bring that back.
Charlottetown Belvedere.
Another thing that these investment trusts have in common, Mr. Speaker, is a unique accounting structure that's designed to maximise the profit margins for the wealthy investors who invest in them. REITs are not taxed on income and gains from their property rental business. Instead, shareholders are taxed on the REIT's property income when it's distributed. Question to the Minister of Finance. REITs represent 40% of the rental housing market in PEI, thousands of properties, but they pay zero corporate income tax to the province. Do you have any idea what that looks like in lost tax revenue?
Honourable Minister of Finance, Deputy Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And Honourable Member, I am quite sure that the Provincial Tax Commissioner would know what that looks like, and I will consult with him. But I'll also remind everyone in this House that we need all of those apartments that are here on PEI, whether they're owned by a small business or a big business. We need those apartments, and we will continue to need them. So, Honourable Member, you know, we can look at this, but we also have to be cognizant of the fact that we need those properties.
Charlottetown Belvedere.
Many of the large multi-unit properties that are owned by REITs are new builds, but a significant number of the smaller multi-units, duplexes, townhouses, have been purchased by REITs from PEI landlords and small local businesses. This was the case with the Westridge Crescent properties in District 9 that were purchased by a REIT registered in Toronto. Those properties, you may recall, Mr. Speaker, prompted the renoviction legislation that we tabled here in the House last fall as the new owners, the new REIT, moved to renovate those tenants and increase their rents illegally. A question for the Minister of Finance. Did your department notice the movement of hundreds of tax-paying properties owned by PEI businesses over to REITs that don't pay tax?
The Honourable Minister of Finance, Deputy Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And Honourable Member, I will consult with my Property Tax Commissioner to see where we are with that. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth, whether they have noticed that or not. It would be a one-of thing, you know, we've got hundreds of thousands of properties on PEI. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member from Charlottetown Belvedere.
So let's be clear, small landlords are paying tax, large landlords not paying tax. Zero corporate income tax is pretty shocking, Mr. Speaker, but there's more. The bulk of the monthly rental revenue from these thousands of properties, which we need, leaves the province. Every month it goes to head offices in Halifax, Toronto, Vancouver. It doesn't stay here. A fraction would be spent locally on services and maintenance, but the rest of that money is leaving the province. We are not getting the benefit of that. And as the majority of the shareholders of these REITs are not in PEI either, any personal income tax that they do pay would be paid in their province of residence. Also not here. Question for the Minister of Finance. Tax revenues of REIT profits and rental revenues are likely entirely received out of province. Corporate income tax is zero. How hard are you really working for Islanders when you don't even notice that you're missing millions in taxation revenues that we need, Islanders need, for the services that they deserve?
So thank you for the question, Honourable Member. I still am not quite sure you want just small owners to own all the properties here. And I might want to point out to you that investors here on PEI who are part of those REITs, they pay taxes here on PEI. And I mean, it's a fine balance. We want to ensure that we have housing for Islanders, and whether they're through a company that's a REIT who, you know, if the investors are here, they're going to pay taxes, or whether it's a small business owner who has rental properties. We'll work with everyone, Honourable Member, and I don't think we should shy away from having apartments here and places for people to live. And we will work across all departments to make sure that happens. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Bernice Stratford.